What the hell?
Okay. All righty.
All right. We'll get this set up. Hey, you know, for the YouTube audience that's joining us live right now, there's still a little bit of button pushing. Bear with us for a moment. Of course, I got Sharon here with us. We're going to get formally started in a second. Let me finish doing the blip, 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 and then we going to be good to go. So there's the one button I need. There's the other button I need. There's the thumbnail button I need. Yeah, another 15 seconds or so, and we will be getting started formally. That one's in.
Live, everyone. I can't see anybody.
Right. This video is definitely not made for children because occasionally bad words slip out. And now we are good to go. Waiting.
Circle spinning, circle spinning, circle spinning.
Circle spin. Sorry, circle spin. I know we're live on YouTube, and that's okay. Here we go. There we go. Changes are saved, and we're done. Good to go. We're set up. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, kiddies of all ages, welcome to a Syndicate Talks. I am your host, Mitch Camage, the Savage in Business. With me today on my screen, right underneath me here right now, because she's already pinned to be the showcase and the showpiece, the always energetic Sharon Shore, Alberta business sales, business broker extraordinaire. Sharon's in the house.
The crowd goes wild. The crowd goes wild.
Woo! I'm sure they'll be cheering shortly because I'll share this link to a bunch of different spots. And then we'll get some live audience on YouTube and people start chirping. It'll be absolutely delightful and delicious. Before we get to Sharon actually talking to herself a little bit, more importantly, spending the next 40 minutes talking about herself and her business. Then, of course, I got to prod her, nudge her, bully her a little bit, etc. But this is a Syndicate Talks, which means that at the beginning of the pandemic, and I say this at the beginning of almost every episode of Syndicate Talks, we had a great idea inside of Syndicate. How do we give the best education from our members to our other members and the world at large? Education is at a premium. In fact, our ability to be able to learn more in business, and when business is so volatile, like we are in the midst of market volatility, inflation, worldwide pandemic, shortage on supplies, all these other good things. People don't know which way is which. They're not sure whether they're going to get their paycheck today, etc. Education is an absolute premium. Inside of Syndicate, we built an organization that allows business owners to connect in very different ways. But one of the main benefits is we can all learn from each other. Also, we wanted to be able to show off our members too. So at Syndicate Talks, we started this, and now we're in season 3, episode 5. Season 4, it's already been booked for the first quarter of 2022 to start there, where our members talk about the things they do, the things they are passionate about, the things they are already good at professionally and personally. Pass that along so it makes you a little smarter in business, lets you know a little more about the members in Syndicate, and teaches you something that you didn't know so that you can navigate business and life a little better. Today, we brought Sharon in. She's a business broker. And what that means is not dissimilar to a realtor, etc. She helps people sell, move, transition, and get things out the door. So I'm going to let her talk about herself for about 30 seconds. Then we're going to get into the meat potatoes of what Sharon does and the kinds of things she knows how to do best of all, and educate you a little bit on what she does, but how that can be beneficial to you. So Sharon, while I do a little more button pushing, why don't you fill them in on the skinny 30 seconds, how you got to where you're sitting at right now. And then, of course, we'll dive into what you do on a day-to-day basis and make everybody else smarter because of it. So I'm going to do some button pushing. You crack this one out for a second.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mitch. And thanks so much for having me on. There is, first of all, nothing skinny about me. I've learned to embrace my curves a long time ago, but I'm going to squeeze this into 30 seconds. I hail from Saskatchewan, small town Saskatchewan, and most of the people that I'll share this with will appreciate me bringing up Melville, Yorkton, Churchbridge areas. I spent the majority of my life there, and 6 years ago I came to Calgary, no longer wanting to stay in the industry that I was in. I was a hairdresser for 32 years and a salon owner, and I decided to go into real estate. So that journey took me over to commercial real estate, and by the grace of God, took me to Neil Garrettson and Alberta Business Sales, where I'm now stationed for the last year.
Fantastic. All right, the first button pushing is done, and now we're here to this. So we're going to stretch it out a little bit, do some mental push-ups, and get ready to go. Sharon, the hell is a business broker? What do business brokers do? And of course, we're going to want you to talk about some of the stuff you've done, without sharing any names, some of the companies that you help, some of the mechanics. But let's start first of all with business brokers. Sometimes these are interview related. Sometimes these are just talk related. Some of our speakers are like, Mitch, just create an introduction, shut the hell up for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. I'll fill all the space and then you can close out at the end. So tell me, or more importantly, tell our audience, because I know, but that's because of the nature of my business. I know people don't know what a business broker is. So what is a business broker and what's a day in the life of Sharon?
Well, you know what? First of all, you're bang on. Talking to people when I first started in this particular niche of the industry, reaching out to people and they'd say, so what are you doing now? And I'd say, well, actually, I'm going into business brokering and I'm working with a brokerage in Alberta. And that's the first thing people said, like, what's a business broker? And the funny part about it is everyone knows someone in business. I mean, even if you haven't been an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, you haven't been part of a joint venture or anything, everybody knows someone who owns a tire shop or owns a restaurant, and they all come to a place in their life where they are going to need to use a business broker. What happens is the main problem that they don't know what a broker is. And so that is what's responsible for 76% of the businesses over the next 10 years being ready to exit and not being prepared to exit. So essentially what we do at Alberta Business Sales is we help new buyers coming in, sellers getting their businesses prepared to sell, and all the pitfalls that happen through that transition and that transaction. I really appreciate that you compared it to the real estate world, because of course that's kind of where I got my wheels under me in the city. And it's not dissimilar to that, in the way that there are people who are very prepared to start to reach out to other people in their community and say, you know what, I have a business background. I'm a pretty smart person. Maybe I have some legal know-how. So just like some people will go and list their home on their own without the use of a realtor, as a real estate agent, I don't suggest it. There's a lot of stuff that unless you are in this industry that can cause you grief because you don't know what you don't know. It is exactly the same with selling your business. Are there people who can go out and present their business opportunity to somebody, work through the transaction, find a buyer, utilize their lawyers, utilize their accountants and get it done? For sure there is. And for some, they may say it was a great experience and it was no problem. I think about the same percentage of homeowners, home sellers that had a really easy, good experience with that. The same thing would apply to business owners. And that's a bit of an analogy and it's a bit of a simplification, Mitch, but essentially that's the truth. And that's what we've worked really, really hard to establish in helping people to do that. So that's kind of the gist of business brokering. Strangely, there are a lot of brokerages. So just like there's a lot, there's 6,400 realtors the last time I checked in Calgary, and everybody knows, as soon as I said I'm a realtor, they're like, the first thing they said is, well, are you with Remax? Because, that's what people know. That's average people, if they haven't had a lot of work in it and haven't needed the services, that's what they know. When you say I'm a business broker, nobody goes, well, are you with Alberta Business Sales? Because they don't know what the hell it is. So that's my job. And essentially, I would like to say that I was hired for my financial background and my wizard-like brain when it comes to numbers, but alas, I was not. I was hired to be out there to hit the streets, educating people, not only about our business and having them spread the word and possibly refer people who could become clients of ours, but to educate people on what all business brokers do and the kind of services that we provide, and put it out there and see what sticks and see who gets to know us. And I think I've been pretty successful over the course of the last year in educating a lot of people, keeping myself top in mind, of course, and our business and the growth of our business has reflected that.
Now you touched a number of the tangibles and the technicals, which gives a framework or a picture of what people can expect. But I'd like you to roadmap it for somebody. I got a business, and I mean, I own multiple businesses, but I decide that one of them isn't doing me any favors. I'm sick of it. I want to get some money out of it. I've spent enough time doing it. My kids don't want it. And in my case, I got 4 kids, right? I got 2 older, 2 younger, but none of them say, Dad, I don't want anything to do with this thing. Get rid of it, do something with it. Or I am too stubborn to just go, well, it was a good run. let's just wind it down. Instead, I want to get some money out of it. So what are some of the mechanics that people have to go through? And more importantly, the one that I'm always astonished to hear from business owners, because again, as a business coach, I hear about all sorts of different crap all day, every day. And yes, I mean that. I hear about all sorts of different crap, because the good stuff is never what causes the problem. It's the crap. You're like, I'm just sick of this, and I'm sick of this, and I'm sick of this, and my kids won't listen, and I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm tired of doing this, and I'm tired of chasing people for money, etc. How long does it normally take to do it? Because that's the part that astonishes me all the time. People are like, I could sell it, it'll be gone in 3 months. What? You're insane. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the mechanics, things that people should expect, the kind of stuff they're gonna be asked to do, the kinds of things that Sharon does with them or for them, etc. The stuff that people should know ahead of time. And let's establish time frame after all, because we sometimes have unrealistic expectations. Right now, in my neighborhood, if you try to sell your house, it's going to last 4 days. If you move a kilometer away, your house might not sell in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's an important distinction too.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up, because as you can well imagine, we see that a lot. And that's where the differentiality between the analogy that I use between real estate and business brokering ends. Because unfortunately, what we found is somebody puts a little bit of a bug in a business owner's ear that, you're kind of getting up there, the market's great, why don't you sell? So all of a sudden they come to us and they go, okay, I want to be on a beach, I want to sell my business, how fast? And you're right, that's one of the first questions that they ask us is, first of all, how much are we going to charge? And how fast can you get it done? And I don't think that those are bad questions. I really don't. And again, going back, you don't know what you don't know. So that's my job, to educate people in that. Right now, there's 2 different types of sellers that we're seeing, and we're seeing a lot of it. The vast majority of them, and where I put my focus when I started last year, is on the baby boomer generation. The people who are 5 to 10 years older than me, or my age, if they've worked, if they've been at it right from the beginning. And they're coming to us and saying, I'm starting to look at getting to the beach. Oftentimes, you're right, that it's, a guy who's 75, he's had the tire shop, he's raised his family, the whole 9 yards. His wife is already in Mexico. Like, let me tell you, she's so done with the winters and she's already there. He wants to be there, but he's not quite there in his head yet. Whether it's because things aren't prepared or he isn't mentally prepared to be there. That was my focus when I first started, and it's kind of who I was aiming for. And when I talk to people, I do it, how much networking I do, Mitch. When I go out networking, I would say to people, if you know of somebody who's ready to retire, ready to hit the beach, let me know, because we can help them out. What we're seeing a lot of now is, I was 30 and I have this whole career path that I'm going to go on, whether it's entrepreneurially or maybe in your career, something that you've gone to university for. In the interim, I started a lawn business, a lawn care or whatever. Now, a really bright guy who's in his 20s could have built that up to a place where he's got a nice little, chunk of cash waiting for him if he sells that business, to then move on to whatever his next venture is. In talking with our friend Ali, people who have, they buy this, they establish it. I know, Mitch, you're the same kind of personality. You develop it into this beautiful rose from the bud and then it's like, okay, get rid of that and move on. So those are essentially the 2 different groups of people that we're seeing a lot. I will tell you, the business people, owners that you are coaching, come to us. And so we hear exactly what you just said. And for listeners who may be sellers, maybe business owners, or may know somebody who's in this stage, they go, well, you know what? My uncle is ready to sell his retail men's clothing store. They come to us and we go, okay, here's what we need to get going. And this is, now I'm getting in a very long roundabout way to the question you asked me to process. Okay. They come to us and they say, we want to get this thing listed. I want to sell this. They've already got a number very likely in their head. And we say, here's all we need. We're going to send you a non-disclosure to ensure confidentiality from us. And we want you to send us 3 to 5 years of financials. Have you got that prepared? No. Okay. Do you have any type of an inventory amounts? Do you have anything detailed? Even if it's not super current, but to kind of give us an idea. No. We go, well, then here's the deal. We can't help you because we can't. How do you put a value on that? How do you present that to a buyer? And let me tell you, some of these guys are making money hand over fist. It's not that the business is a mess. They aren't business people, they're workers. Someone said to me, was it in our last syndicate, Mitch, about technicians versus, it was two words, so they're technicians and they're not they aren't business minded. That's not where their strength is.
Actually, can I jump in for a moment? What's beautiful
Please.
about that, and I not to segue away, but that is a great reference point for everybody to understand as well, is that there are technicians, business owners, and entrepreneurs. Technicians think accountant and welder. I've learned to be good at something, and now I want to run a business, and eventually I want to be able to sell it. Well, with most technicians, and again, I got really excited, so forgive me for jumping in here, but most technicians, the business doesn't run if they're not there. And then there's the business owners where you technically own your own job. Maybe you've got other technicians and other people working for you. So to sell it, those people have to stay with the business and move forward. And then there's entrepreneurs where it doesn't matter almost what the business is. You've developed a certain level of competency. Those are the ones that are the most lethal. So for your audience, if I can, the faster you transition from technician to business owner to entrepreneur, in other words, learn what you need to do that, the more likely you are to sell, because you've actually created a business that while you have to be there to run it every day, doesn't require you to run it. It's thing that's separate from you. And that's, I think that's part of where that discussion came from. Anyway, I got excited to have to share that.
No, you're absolutely right. And the only thing is, and I know that as a coach, you have the ability to teach somebody who doesn't have that skill set and teach them what they need to do to move through, that transition through their entire business life. What I have found, Mitch, and you may disagree with me on this, is that some people will never have the ability to do that. They don't have the desire to do it. So if you don't want something, you're not going to learn it. So here's what I've learned over my very young 30 years of age, is that stay in your lane. If you're good at having the guys working under you, if you're good at being the guy who's schlepping under the car or cooking in the kitchen, do that. But I'm going to tell you that the rest of it, and for success during your business, success in leaving your business, requires you to hire people to help you then. And you know what? They always say you have to spend money to make money. There is no larger place for you to spend it than in that, because otherwise your chance of success in any one of those periods is zero. And that's why, at our particular brokerage, we have people who are certified in exit planning. That's why I'm friends, and we utilize people like yourself, Mitch, that when they come to us and they go, it's just a mess from staffing to inventory to ordering to processes, everything's a mess. It's okay. I think they love it when I pick up the phone and I go, look, you're not going to be out of this thing next week. Like, don't think that you're walking away from your tire shop on Saturday, because this is going to require some work. The more messy, the longer the period to get it set up. And that's why we work with a lot of clients who don't have any intention of leaving for 2 to 5 years. And now, that being said, it doesn't have to be that long, but if they're going to keep plodding along and they want to make gradual changes in working with somebody like yourself, when it gets to the end, to working with an exit strategist, to at the end of the day, people go, well, I don't want, what am I going to pay this guy for? Like, he's asking a lot of money, for his help and whatever, because what do you want at the end of the day? Do you want your best bottom line? Because trust me, I'll sell it. I'll sell a hell of a mess. You won't get a lot, but I can sell it. And I tell you how I know this, Mitch, is because much like all of us that have learned from our business experiences, I spent 32 years standing behind a hairdressing chair with people who cried, I'm not exaggerating, as I walked out the door, and that business was worth nothing. It was worth the chairs, the blow dryers, the color supply, the retail stuff I had, and that was it. Because the huge following that I spent 32 years blowing up was nothing without the only product that really mattered, which was me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was me. So I learned a very hard lesson from that. By the grace of God, I married a rich man. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. I always say I have a trust fund. Luckily, I have a husband who trusts that I'm going to make money someday. That's been my line for 6 years. So, but again, it's not my fault. I don't feel bad about it. I didn't know. There's, how many business brokers there are in Churchbridge, Saskatchewan? Zero. There's zero. So there wouldn't have even been anybody for anyone to direct me to.
I doubt there's any business coaches there.
There's minors. There's minors who live in that town and the people who run the town, and that's it. So, it is what it is. And I really pride myself in working with our clients and saying, you have zero need to beat yourself up about it, but let's fix it. Let's fix it so you get a ton of cash at the end of this. And all the hard work that you've poured into this business is not for nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my gist. So do you want to jump in?
Ooh.
Do you have any words of incredible wisdom to add to that? All of that brilliance?
Love that. Absolutely love that. So then with what you just told me is that there's 0% chance I'm going to get rich selling my business, or there's 100% chance I'm going to get rich selling my business, depending on what I do next. Simple
as that. Again, sometimes I oversimplify things and people go, I wish it was that easy. It is that easy. Those are your only two choices. And for the stubborn, they will make no money, or they will sit on a business for a very long time because it is not desirable. And whether I work in real estate or whether I work in business brokering, I always tell people the information I'm giving you is not my opinion. If someone says, do you like this kitchen? That's an opinion. The numbers on where we come out with through financials, through desirability, the market dictates it straight up. It has nothing to do with what Neil, our head broker, or myself feel about your business. And that then leads to, and we see this, I swear, Neil mentioned this to me just before I started on with him, and I thought, well, I could sort of see that. It is 100% true. I would say 80 to 90% of business owners come to us and we say, so what's your number? Where do you think you're at? The business owners know what their revenue is. They know what all of their expenditures are, right? So what do you think your business is worth? Almost every time, Mitch, they either say double what it's actually worth or half.
Yep.
That's very seldom are they even ballpark, unless they've had, an evaluation done or they've had another professional come in previously, then they may be a little bit more. But either people go, holy crap, what? My business is, what am I doing working still? Why am I not in Miami? They either do that or they go, we're not signing on with you because you don't see the value in our business, because my business is worth $2 million and not $1 million. Guess what? No, it isn't. It could have been, and it can be. If you want to work with us to figure out how to get you there, I can give you Mitch Camage's number and he can straighten out all your disaster. We can help you with exit strategy to get you ready. If you don't, then it is not worth close to what you feel. And I understand in your heart you feel that, but the numbers are what the numbers are, and it's not an opinion. So as you can well imagine, Mitch, because now we've become virtual friends over the course of the last year, that's my job.
Yeah.
Neil is not only has the skill set that I have, but his background has been in the financial industry for 4 years. And working in business brokerage for a really large percentage of that. Mine is not. I was a really bad, my books were disastrous. Did I mention I didn't make any money after I left a business I worked in for 32 years? But my skill set is in talking with people, to helping them understand what they need to know, and to let them know that we have more people with letters behind their name, Mitch, than you can shake a stick at. They got all the financial stuff down. We can tell you that number with 100% certainty because they have that experience. What they need me for is this. So I go, oh, Mitch Camage is selling this company that he's involved in. This is how much it is. And this is the opportunity to my billions of people that I know and I love. And so I'm the connector. I'm the connector person who tells people what they need, how they're going to get there, and provides the tools for them straight up. And it is why my job is a joy and a blessing in my life. I love helping them. So that's my skill set.
Love it. So I'm gonna get you to give people a little tiny roadmap in a moment, and I'm gonna set the table for the kind of businesses we're talking about. You and I do some similar things for very different reasons. In fact, we use some similar tool sets for very different reasons. If you have an idea in your head, there's a way to value the idea itself. If you have an idea and you're building something, software as an instance, there's a way to compare your business to other businesses to come up with some sort of concept for the value of what the idea can turn into. Once you have an existing business, it is really important to go back to a Sharon point for a moment, and something that I'm sure she'll illustrate again very shortly, that you've got financial information. Why? Nobody cares what you think your business is worth. There is its impact inside the market. There's what kind of client base it generates. And then otherwise, it's financial data and the ability for the business owner or the business owners to leave said business. All those things being set, let's set the bar at somebody who's had a business for a year and realizes it's not for them, so relatively new, could be bigger, could be little. Somebody that has a really little business, maybe 1 or 2 employees, and wants to look to exit at some point. And somebody who has a legacy business, almost doesn't matter on population size. Business has been around for 10 plus years, and they've decided that they want to move on to other things. So each one of those, what would be the thing that they have to start with? What would be the one thing that each of those? So a really new business, a little business that's been around for a little bit of time, and a big business has been around 10 plus years, maybe has a good employee base, good client base. Which either one of those, is it the same for all of them to get started? Or do each one of them have to have something a little different to put themselves in a spot where they can decide, should I do this, or do I just say, it's been a good ride?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Mitch. They're all the same. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to tell you what, we sold the coffee news, which was, when you go into a little coffee shop and there's paper with advertising, we sold that, and we've sold multi-million-dollar businesses, and they all start the same. Because essentially, the first thing that people need to know, that they want to know, and that we need to establish is, what is the price point on it? What's the desirability? What does the market look like? And it doesn't matter if it's small or if it's huge. Some things are going to be more in demand. As an example, if people take a look at our website, you'll see that we've got a restaurant in SAR, CZAR. I didn't even know that was a town. So it's outside of Edmonton, little tiny place, a bar and restaurant. Lots and lots of interest on that. Different businesses in Brooks and stuff. At the end of the day, I have no problem with saying to people, listen, people are smart. We're all super educated in our own ways, whether we get educated by books or educated by streets. It doesn't matter. We all are smart, right? So the guy who lives in SAR doesn't think that his business is worth as much as somebody that's in the middle of downtown Calgary. And they understand the challenges in selling something that is in smaller communities. Is that a longer journey? Well, it depends. This is my old business partner, Perry Logler, used to always tell me, there's an ass for every seat. And so there is somebody that's their dream thing to have. It's their, and maybe some of the smaller towns are an opportunity where they could get into a business that they wouldn't be able to in a larger center, right? Same kind of footprint, same kind of investment. I mean, less of an investment, same kind of opportunity, right? So essentially, it doesn't matter if it's something that's selling for $100,000 or if it's something that's selling for 100 million. Okay, that might be business. Let's say like 10 million. Okay.
I want that commission check.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I would love that actually. It starts with the same process. We sit down for an initial meeting with the potential sellers. We have a look at what the business looks like. What is, and again, I lean on Neil a lot for this because he has the experience with so many years under his belt in knowing what type of industrial businesses. Are you a paving company? Are you, like, let me tell you, you got a car wash, you got a convenience store. The emails coming in for interest are like, they're very desirable businesses. Something else that takes some skill set. We have a beautiful embroidery shop that needs to run with the people who are skilled at using those machines, because those machines are worth tens of thousands of dollars. Somebody can't just come in and go, okay, I'm going to run this shop. So we sit down and we discuss that with them. We discuss their end game. We discuss the timeline. What does that look like? How long might it take us to get it prepared? And then, of course, because we're completely transparent, we discuss our fees. What is it going to look like to have us working for you? And much like real estate agents, sometimes people sit down from us and we talk to them about, what we charge them for. And rightly so. Again, they're educated. They want to know what we're going to do for that. Like, why can't I just put this up on Kijiji for $100,000 and sell it? Well, you can, but here's what we do, right? And here's the services that we provide. Here's how we're going to help you through this whole transaction. Here's how we're going to help you. And we sit down and we talk about putting together a business valuation. If you go right now, and Mitch, and you know this, you say to somebody, I'm going to sell this software business that I have, and you're going to get a valuation done. For sure, somewhere between 2,500 and 7,500, up to 10,000, depending on the size of your business and the complexities with it. You're going to pay a lot for that. That's included as part of what we call an engagement fee, which means that we're going to start you up. I don't like saying retainer because I sound like a freaking lawyer. I hate that. So I don't say I say engagement fee because it sounds clear. And so we engage them in, but we tell them what that includes. We have an entire support team that we pay to make up beautiful business profiles and to go through all the emails, to keep track. We send out reports weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the situation, on who's contacted us, on how we followed up, on what their response was, which sometimes when we get a guy who comes in and goes, that's worth $2 million and not $1 million. Well, when we list it for 1.5 to cut the difference, and everyone goes, that's too much money, then it's no longer just us sitting across the table from them going, it ain't worth $2 million. Yeah. But our team provides all of those services when you come on with us. That's part of why we get a success fee at the end of it, right? That's why people pay us. And I think, and so we sit down with them, we establish what we're going to do for them, what it's going to cost them, what it looks like. And I'd be lying if I said that people don't go, nope, I don't want to, I don't even know what if you don't, this is the lie. What if you don't sell it? Do I get my engagement fee back? No, you don't. You don't get it back because our support team still did all of that work. And the reality is that we have a very, very good success rate on selling businesses. And the reality is that right now, out of all the businesses that are available, that will be available, only 10% will sell. That is sad. If you look at the number at 76% in the next 10 years selling, and only 10% out of that sells, that's scary. You need us. You need us, right? So we sit down and we discuss that with them. And some people say, no, I'm not ready. And that's okay, because we're being open and we're being honest, and it either works for them or it doesn't, right? So that's kind of how we pull them on. From the buyer side, Mitch, if I can just skip across, because of course.
No, I love it. I was going to actually segue you there. So I love that you're going there right now, because that's the other side of the transaction. Let's talk about that, because I also, when you're doing that, also, if you could focus a little bit on what it actually takes to get in there, because you had to have seen some businesses that are way too good of a deal to pass up almost, and others where you're going, you better have deep pockets. So yes, I love it. You're already there with me. Run away with it. Go nuts.
Yeah. So of course, because we have a lot of listings and because we have a lot of opportunities, we get a lot of buyers coming in. That is also a process. Mitch, if you come in and you say, my employees at my restaurant don't know that I'm looking to sell, I don't want them freaking out, right? Because they're going to start looking for different jobs in case this sells and in case they're not employed anymore, and that can cause a whole messy storm. We have devised a plan on how we put it out that it's not blatantly apparent. If they look for it, they can find it. But the chances are that your employees, for no reason at all, are not going to go searching around for your business. But when that happens, we have a very secure process that everyone who wants to look at your business also needs to sign an NDA. a non-disclosure. So they are tied to not sharing any information that they get. Only when they sign that and complete what we call a buyer's profile, which is basic information. How are you going to pay for it? Have you owned businesses before? What's your expectation? Why are you looking to buy a business? Those types of things. And here's what we found. Because we get, Joe Blow asked for information on 33 out of their 36 listings. And we go, no, you don't get to do that, because that means you're not really interested in buying. And our support team has gotten remarkable at narrowing out those peeps and getting rid of them. If they are not willing to sign an NDA, if they're not willing to complete a business profile, they are not going to see your business. It's just as simple as that. We don't, in Neil's words, he always says, we don't deal with clowns, because those are tire kickers, and those are people that are not actually interested in your business. And I'm going to tell you what, I know this for sure, that there are some people that are great business owners and they're very capable, and they look at that and they go, I'm not giving you that information. I'm not telling you how much I can put down. Well, good for you. You don't get to buy this business then. Sorry about your luck. I'm too old, Mitch. I'm too old to play around with people's high school drama. Like, stop it. If you want to buy a business, I'm going to help you all day. So that's the beginning of the buying process. Then we have an on-phone or a Zoom interview where I sit down with the potential buyer and talk to them more about what they're looking for, what the business all entails, what it looks like from the sellers. Are they ready to leave? Are they on the fence? Will they help? Will they stay and mentor? Like with the embroidery business, right? That's going to take some direction. Mm-hmm. And whether it's training them on how their POS system works, whether they've got their accounting hooked up to QuickBooks, you're doing a share sale, you're taking the whole thing, lock, stock, and barrel, right? So we need to know what that looks like. And usually in that first conversation, I can understand if they're serious as a heart attack, or if they're just yanking people's chains and wasting time. Then I go to the seller, and some of our sellers want to sort of vet the buyers themselves, and other ones who, again, don't have that skill set, leave it to Neil and I to comb through them and decide who might be a good fit for their business. And then we move on to meeting as a group, because of course there's things, your business is your business, and you don't love it. I mean, you love it more and you know it more than I could ever possibly do that. So we need to make the connection. And that's how it starts. Sometimes it carries on from then, and it's done. They start on the due diligence. We start to put together a letter of intent and put in an offer. And then they start that process. And we, of course, we're right there with them, both our brokers, our back end people, working with lenders, which is, we could do another whole show on working with lenders and how we can help out with that. Because sometimes, you know what, the mesh is perfect. You've got this super, super excited buyer, hardworking, ready to go, motivated sellers who want to be on the beach, and the buyer just can't get it done. Maybe had a crappy background, or he just can't come up with quite enough cash. Our crew has become very creative on the lending side and figuring out how to work. Maybe so much you need in cash, a smaller amount, then we'll help you to get financing. And maybe the vendor helps out with a bit of vendor financing as well to help you out for the first couple of years. They keep a little bit of skin in the game, and to show confidence. And they also aren't giving everything up at the same time. So there's a lot of different creative ways that we look at that. If I could just say one more thing, did you want to talk this hour? I don't know, because I don't know if you know this, but I
go for it.
Okay. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I love the people that I work with. So it's important to me that people know this information and know that the service is available. From the buyer side, we do get people who come in and they have some cash, sometimes a lot of cash, and they have no direction. There was a day when I believe, I haven't seen it in my time because we're too busy, but Neil saw a time where he would have then taken those people and said, okay, let's go through this. Let's work out the parameters. We're going to send you a buyer's questionnaire of, restaurants, hospitality, Nope, get rid of that, like to narrow it down. Right now, that is a long process. People come in with cash and they go, blah, and they throw it out on the counter and they go, I want to own a business. And we go, okay, fantastic. You got money. We're going to help you. What kind of business do you want? They go, I don't know. And we go, well, do you want to do this or this or this? And they go, I don't know. Luckily, we partner up with a fantastic gal. Liz McRae owns Village Wealth, and that's what they do, man. They know, they have a whole process, much like we do from the exiting side, where we can take our clients and step by step help them through that. We no longer have the time to take that client and handhold it. Liz keeps different than a coaching perspective, Mitch. This is somebody who isn't even in the door yet. And she has the opportunities that are also available. So once she talks to them and gets parameters, then she can work through and either send them over to somebody who then goes, okay, I'm going to get into this and I'm going to need your help, right? She'll hook them up with business coaches to help them during that process. And then we're not going to likely see them for a number of years, right? Mm-hmm. We help them, get through the process and possibly pick something up and get busy and get moving, and everybody's happy and everybody's thrilled. And it's as remarkably seamless as we can make that transition. Does any of that make sense? Or am I just babbling?
Sharon, you're pouring your guts out. You're talking about your business. Does that make any sense? I'm babbling. Way to blast credibility. Sharon, that makes a shit pile of sense. So listen, we only have a little bit of time left, and this is not verbal diarrhea. This is not diatribe. This is an incredibly complex potential business operation, and you have to do it the right way. And you've brilliantly outlined both sides. So, hey, in the middle of a live event and in the middle of this one, I'm providing praise because Sharon's doing fantastic. She's doing an awesome job being able to illustrate a business and an industry that people have no clue, no understanding for. In fact, anybody can be a business broker. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Should you have education and certification and time and training? Yeah. But anybody could wake up tomorrow and go, I'm going to help somebody broker a business. Just like you can be a business coach or just about anything else in the world. Lots of things. You don't need an awful lot to get started. However, professionalism, practice, methodology, time in, and diligence with your clients. And that's what we're hearing here in spades. So let's give people a sense of whether they're selling or whether they're buying. What's the kind of range you've seen? Where are most businesses in? I don't know, 30%, 40%, 60%, 70%. And then what's the best deal you've ever seen?
Oh, that's a tricky, well, the beginning isn't tricky, but the last part's tricky. We are, when I say, and I tell people, we sell soup to nuts, and only because I don't know how else to describe it. But in May, we took over a brokerage that was Calgary-based called Commercial Ventures. Commercial Ventures team is remarkably powerful. They have people on, they're the people, and I gotta quit saying this, but it's all like, they're so smart. Like they know the financial end and the business end of it inside and out. That expanded our capabilities. For Neil, he feels very comfortable from 0 to 10 million and doesn't need to ever speak to anybody else about it. He's got that nailed. Once it got into larger mergers and acquisitions up to $100 million, we acquired Commercial Ventures to fill that need. So they are the people that now literally we can help you with anything in that range, which I'm going to guess encompasses most things. Complete transparency, between 1 and 3 million is where we see a lot of stuff listed. The 3 to 10 million is obviously a really nice clean business. In that is not only desirable, it's obviously a lot of work to get that done, and it requires a lot of due diligence. But we have full capability of doing that, 100%. What we're seeing right now, a lot of stuff. I mean, if you pop on our website, there's a lot of stuff that's in the hundreds of thousands, 1 to 3, 4 million. There's a lot of stuff kind of in that range. We just sold a beautiful store in Canmore, and I'm so proud of it because I just adore the owners, and I could not be more proud that we were able to help them out. Had a couple come in and take it over. Those kind of things, as weird as it sounds, I know this is business. I'm not a hairdresser anymore. It fills my heart, Mitch. It fills my heart to have the sellers who have created this baby and watched it grow move on to the next phase of their life, whatever that looks like for them. And then have this new couple who have this baby that's beautiful and developed, and to be able to go in and then take it and massage it in their own direction. You know, we take great pride in that, like really great pride in that. So anything that's in that, it doesn't matter if it's big or small. You know, we've got small businesses, things that I'm not going to lie, it's been a tough go for a lot of people, as you know, just with the economic climate. And some of them have sat for a while, and their owners are amazing and hardworking and delightful. They're just a tougher sell. And you know what? I truly believe, Mitch, that when I tell them that we're doing everything, they see our marketing plastered on every business sale website, across social media, whatever. They know that we're doing all that we can to pump that thing out and find the right connections for them. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it's just tough, you know. So I'd be lying if I said that we didn't run into that. But we also have some, as an example, the two couples that I was just telling you that thing went like butter. It went far smoother than any of us ever anticipated. It was just all the stars aligning, you know. But we're happy. We are so happy to help people out. And I think that the main thing, if I could get it across to anybody today, Mitch, would be to just let them know what we do. Not saying that we're the right fit for everybody. You know, you can't be everything to everyone. But we know what we're doing. We're proud of what we do. We like the relationships that we build. And at the end of the day, no matter what industry you're in, I think that's the most important thing. So hopefully people get a little bit educated, both on Sharon Shore and on Alberta business sales and on business brokering. Ta-da!
For all of the training and years I've spent speaking in public, I always tell you to finish strong, and you finish strong. Sharon, listen, we are, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Cyndicate Tribe, everybody else in the world is going to be watching this, whether it's live or whether it's in the future. This is right in the middle of season 3. There are 2 other episodes. Sharon, you have drilled it. You have housed it. Thank you so much for being able to share and educate, first of all, the members of Cyndicate, and secondly, the world at large. For the world at large and for the members of Cyndicate, you need to get at our girl. And on my screen, she's there. I don't know where I'm pointing on your screen, but on my screen, I'm pointing at my girl, Sharon, right there. If you have questions about transitioning or selling your business, what it's going to take to set up really good conversations, help a mechanic that can take months or years even in the making, you need to have a very realistic sense. If you're looking to buy, in other words, buy your own job or buy business, add to your portfolio, etc., there are things that you can do in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Going, who has millions of dollars? I know lots of people with millions of dollars. It's whether or not they're going to be smart enough, diligent enough, etc. If you're going to invest the kind of money that it's going to take to get into an existing business so that it has a realistic opportunity to, first of all, take care of you and your family, and then continue to provide some benefit or value into the world, you need good representation. And that is Sharon and, of course, the company she's with, Alberta Business Sales. So you have to talk to her, and you have to be able to get that right to be able to go where you are. Cyndicate, pay attention, brothers and sisters. This is fine education. This is something that's going to help because 1, we're all business owners. 2, at some point we thought about selling it or doing something with it. And 3, how does this even start, or what do I do if I want to get involved with something? This is fundamental business education. It teaches you more about finance. It teaches you more about financial modeling. It teaches more about the actual structure of business and how it's going to make best sense for what you're doing. And if you spend the next 6 months, year, 2 years getting your business prepared for sales, you're actually making a better business and becoming a better business owner by the time you sell it, which means whatever you do next, whatever venture you're going into, or hell, maybe you sell it to buy another business, you're going to be smarter at what you're doing because you've made that investment. Cyndicate Talks, season 3, episode 5. It's in the can. It's in the bag. We are there. Syndicate Talk started to build education, information, and to give it to the world at large for free to make you smarter at your job of owning a business. Sharon helped rock that out today. So on behalf of myself, Sharon, the other members of Syndicate, our executive team, my brother from another mother, Ali, my partner inside of Syndicate, thank you so much for joining us here on a Syndicate Talk, Season 3, Episode 5. Watch the other 4 episodes. Watch for the next episodes. There's 4 more in this season coming up right away. We got some great speakers on that as well. Thank you for joining us today. We will see you the next time on a Syndicate Talks. And of course, we're recording this one right now, and actually just 65 minutes. The next episode is going to be broadcasting live as well anyway, so you can come and check that one out as well too. Sharon, thank you. Audience, thank you. Syndicate brothers and sisters, I heart you. Get after it. Take good care of business. Treat your clients well, and make better business friends. We will see you guys all